The 177-foot Benetti'S Starfire has been crafted with meticulous attention to detail. Actually, these Benetti'S are a symbol of timeless elegance. Beyond her impressive performance, she also has a thoughtfully designed indoor and outdoor space layout which ensures luxurious living on the water. We spoke to sales broker carl.sputh to find out why Starfire's amenities are second to none. And at the end of the video, you'll understand why Carl is exactly the right person to talk about this yacht.
What I think is great is the flow of the boat. The spaces are generous and the flow is simple to understand, but yet it just works. 90% of the charters have come back to the boat. Everybody that's been on board this boat just like it works. As you walk up the passerelle, off to your left or the port side, there's a center round table. This table can accommodate up to 14 easily, and you can slide 16 in there if you need to. What makes it nice is when you're sitting there and everybody's doing water sports off the stern of the boat, that you have a little bit more space. It's a nice prepping area, and then obviously it turns back into a table. There's a nice big lazy Susan on it. It's very comfortable. You're close to the water and you have a great feel when you're back there on the aft deck. Then when you walk through, these two big double doors open and you walk into the main salon, there's a bar off to the port side. And that area, you look at it and you're like, oh, I don't know if that's going to get used a lot. It gets used all the time because as you're prepping to go out for dinner or everybody's waiting for cocktails, people will sit at the bar, the girls are doing service, everybody's laughing, you're kind of hanging out in the main salon. It just makes for a really good feel, and it's service-wise, it's very simple for the crew. Going forward from there, you walk into the main dining, and that will easily sit 12 people. It's elegant. There's a chandelier in there that is pre-Lalique. So there was two gentlemen that came together to make Lalique in the beginning, and one of them made this before they joined the company of Lalique, which is it's gorgeous. Walking forward from the main foyer, two double doors open, and there's office and a sitting room with a nice TV on the wall where you can kind of get away if you want to watch a movie while someone else is sleeping. Then in the master, it's a California King. There's a TV at the foot of the bed, and on the port side, there's a custom-made vanity that has power outlets inside of it, so everything can kind of disappear and hide. Forward into the master bathroom, you have a large jacuzzi tub, and you can access that from either port or starboard side. And then you have a large shower that you can access from the port or starboard side. The lavatories have doors on them on both sides, and her side also has a bidet. Coming in from the main salon, on the starboard side, there's a staircase. You come down that staircase and there's a nice, square foyer down there. Aft is a countertop, which I really like because in the morning, what the girls will do is they'll set up coffee and maybe like a little bit of a snack. So if you wake up early in the morning, but you don't want to leave your cabin and go see everybody, there's some coffee, there's, a water, maybe a little snack in the morning. And then there's 4 cabins down there. The 2 forward ones are identical, and they have 2 twin beds in them, and they each have Pullmans that fold down. And then aft are 2 queen beds, and then those have like little settees on either side, which are very comfortable. All the rooms have desks, and then they all have en-suites, and they're very generous. From the main foyer, you walk up some generously sized stairs, which I mentioned because I feel like on a lot of the yachts, the stairs, especially if you're a little bit older or you're small children, they're hard to kind of go up and down and navigate. These stairs are very easy to navigate. You come up to the foyer, and on the starboard side is the VIP cabin. We call that the room with the view. There's huge windows. The cabin has a nice queen-size bed. There's a small, little sitting couch. There's a desk. And then there's a really cool shell stainless steel sink that I love it. I think it's so cool when you walk in there. The sink just pops when you look at it. That's the other guest cabin that has a bathtub. Walking out of the VIP cabin, and walking aft, there's a player piano. There is a fireplace that actually works. There's another bar, which is very comfortable. It's another, hangout spot. And then there's a nice big couch and a TV in there. So as you leave the Sky Lounge going aft, you walk into another dining area. That dining area is a half round of all glass. Those doors open up twice, and so that it's an inside-outside feel. And then the ceiling is supposedly, when the boat was built, we call this the Star Room. And the ceiling is supposedly the Via Reggio night sky when you turn on the lights, which is kind of cool. The vessel has walk-arounds on both port and starboard side, which is great because the crew never have to walk through the interior of the boat. As you walk up towards the bridge, you'll find a set of stairs on both port and starboard sides, which go to another small coffee table size area and a half-round settee. This then overlooks the bow of the boat, obviously, and then there's a section up there where there's 2 jet skis, and then there's also room for a 15-foot tender. What makes that area great is that the crew can be up there working on something and fixing something, and no one can ever hear it. They can test it. There's a 3,000-pound safe working load crane up there, so if you wanted different toys, there's plenty of horsepower up there to pick up anything you want, and there's a lot of space. Walking up the stairs from the sun deck, you'll see that there's a dining area for 8 to 10 with a nice marble table. Then behind that, there's a nice jacuzzi. And then there's 2 sets of couches. There's a bar with 3 stools, which is very comfortable. And then there is a huge teak, full beam couch. This couch is amazing. You can put all 12 to 14 guests on the couch. It's so big, everybody can lay on it. And then there's a pop-up TV, so you can watch movies under the stars. This deck also has a 3-section sunshade on it, which can easily be taken down or taken up. So if you want sun back on the big sun bed, you can have it. If you don't want it, you can put the shades up. When you pull those poles out, and if you moved everything around, you can fold down the rails, and this is a touch-and-go helicopter pad that it doubles as. Going forward from there, you can walk around either side you want, and then you go up into a large half-round settee area again with a small coffee table. Again, this is a wonderful spot to kind of get away from everybody, and as you're pulling into a port, get the view or just sit up there while the boat's underway and enjoy.
Starfire is in excellent condition after an extensive refit in 2023. This included an engine overhaul, technical upgrades, new fittings for the cabins and the crew areas, and much more.
Keeping a crew happy is very important. The extra space for the crew to relax and have their own area makes a huge difference in keeping everybody happy. The bridge is set up in such a way that there's 2 sections for guests can sit, There are two-person settees, and then you also have a nice captain's chair. And then there's a desk for the chief stewardess, and then there's also a desk for the chief officer. The captain's cabin is very generous. There's a queen-size bed in there. There's dual monitors so that you can watch the security cameras on the boat, and you can also see at the same time your navigational equipment with radar overlay, so you can tell when the boat's underway. You can wake up in the middle of the night and just look at it and go, wow, this is where we are and this is what's happening. Then you walk into an upper pantry, which has coffee machine, sink, dishwasher, tons of space for prepping. You walk down an internal staircase, which takes you into the lower pantry, which again has a full section of sink, dishwasher, everything you need to prep in that area. From there, you will walk into the galley. The galley is a center island galley, and there's a huge window in there. The chefs love it. We run with two typically. There's plenty of room for both chefs and the guests to come in and help make a pizza. I used to love hanging out in there because I would always kind of get the feel of what was happening. I like to watch the food come out and everybody prepping. And there's a nice desk there also where the chef can work and put his orders together. When you walk down into the crew mess, on the starboard side, there's a table, and that will fit all the crew to eat and have a meal. It's full beam, so when you go to the port side, you also have a seating area, which they can watch a movie. There's a couch, everybody hangs out in there. It makes it more of a family style. The engineers can access the engine room from the crew mess. They walk into their control room, and then, they have a generous 2-story engine room in there. From the Deutz engines are bulletproof. We're averaging right now, I think it's 76 gallons an hour at 12 knots. You can cross the Atlantic and do a 2-week charter without refueling the boat. It's amazing. Coming out of the engine room, then you walk down the crew corridor and there's 6 cabins. The engineer has a Pullman in his cabin, so he can have a private cabin, or if you need extra crew for some reason, he can share that cabin, but then there's just 6 going forward. Bridge deck aft. There's a dining table there that can sit up to 14. There's also 2 comfortable chairs that face aft, and they're in a little nook area. And then on the starboard side, which is kind of interesting, we have a slide, obviously, that we can deploy from there. Well, there's a door that opens up there, so the slide fits perfectly into this door. And then we built a slide box, which a lot of the yachts, what they're doing is they're using a crane, you put it in a tender, you take it to the bow, right? We have this really cool box, and the slide's simple. We can deploy it in 15 minutes, and we can bring it back in less than 20. It pulls into the box. There's a nice cushion on top of it, and so you can kind of lay out there in this area, and it makes it super comfortable for the guests when we're not using the slide. But when you do use the slide, it just disappears and goes out and comes back, and it's really not a problem. The bridge deck aft also has a beam crane that comes out on either side, and there's full drown hydraulic doors. What makes it nice about that is that when you're crossing the Atlantic, you can bring all the toys off the bow of the boat, and then there's chocks, and so you set them up on that deck. So if you're going to be in heavy weather or you're going to be doing a long crossing, you get everything off the bow, and then this area doubles. But it's really 99% of the time it's a guest area, and nothing ever comes in this space. If you want to walk through the interior of the boat from the sun deck, when you walk in, there's a round glass room here, and both sides open up large, so it's kind of indoor-outdoor. We call this the massage room. It could also be an office. It was an office at one point. The room is great. We always ran with a massage therapist on board, and this worked out really well for the guests to have a separate room. There's also a day head on this deck level, and there is a sauna up there. So it's very nice. From the main deck, on the port side, there's a staircase that takes you down to the swim deck. The swim deck has a hydraulic door that unfolds. There's a day head down there, and then there's also storage for water sports, life jackets, the snorkeling gear, everything. So that's all stored in a nice, neat area right on the aft that's easy to deal with. And the swim platform, it's large. It's set up in such a way that the guests can be down there, everybody can be swimming in the water, hanging out. And what happens a lot of times is that when the tender comes up, there's not enough room for everyone to kind of be down there prepping, and you have crew, and it's plenty big for all the guests to be. On Starfire, you have these two areas where you can go forward, you can get away from everybody. People don't realize that, where you are, you can read a book kind of by yourself, take some time, but also you're coming into Bonifacio and you can see where you're going. It's comfortable. I think it's special.
Carl was actually a former captain for many years on Starfire, so he intimately understands the yacht and the experience that this yacht can bring to an owner, really helping clients to find a perfect vessel on which to unwind, to reflect, and to refresh.
I made a conscious effort to stay on Starfire for 15 years. If you're shopping for a yacht, I urge you to let me give you a personal tour and enlighten you on our virtues.
That's great, actually. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
What's your connection with the boat, Carl?
So I had the pleasure of being on it as the captain for close to 15 years.